might want to speak about our meeting, our hearing. They might have some comments.
That's our comment.
Okay, Mr. Chairman.
Whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'd like to call the public hearing to order. The purpose of the public hearing is to receive comments on our application to the USDA for $4.5 million. So we ask that you, if there are any comments, to take the podium and identify yourself and try to restrict your comments to 5 minutes. So, here we go. While we're waiting, I want to point out that we will have a regular meeting will start at 9 o'clock right following this. So we'll just kind of leave it open for the next 15 minutes, and if somebody comes in and wants to say something, that way they can, okay?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Not a problem. Right, yeah. Yep, whenever we can, we'll take a picture. We'll get out of your hair. Did you?
Hey,
Hey, Jeff.
sir.
Would you mind reviewing how this USDA grant
No, not at all.
applies into the funding scheme for the,
Okay. The USDA, I've been asked to explain the grant. We have previously, the board has voted and issued $10 million worth of bonds at 4.35%, which covers about 2/3 of the cost, projected cost of the jail, roughly. And the 4.5, if everything works out, will be at 3.75, and will be used to make up the other third, approximately, of the percentage of building the new jail. Is that okay?
You guys, we're in a public hearing right now for the USDA grant, so we're waiting till 9 o'clock for 15 minutes, so we're on camera.
Okay.
Yes, so
In
no
case someone
doing
comes
this
in
or-
and wants to
No making
make some other
faces.
comments.
Marla.
I got that letter out.
Yes.
Anything else new?
Not the word.
Pretty quiet up there. But we still got a waiting list. Everybody's going somewhere.
I called, we're gonna have one again tomorrow, so I called him. He had, I called him 300, he hadn't yet, so can't, yes, we're waiting. I don't know.
Sit in the front
It's
row.
gonna work. It's a lot. Front row. I'm all right, how you doing? Baseball seems to be better.
Well, I need to look at, the market's going up right now.
So we back
It normally, well, how long will a little fuel last? What are you talking about?
between 2 and 4.
Then this, okay. Number 2 is light, 4 is, we're gonna have to buy it before, what, July? No matter what, that's when we start processing.
Before June.
Well, no, I mean, not now, but if we bought again, I'm just thinking normally after the farming season, prices go down. The planting season. So you're thinking either 2 or 4.
Somewhere in that range, yeah.
All right.
That's like what he needed.
Yeah,
The only question you kind of
anybody
had is
check
if that
that comes
comes in
in
here,
or
would you
what?
want it to be able to be
Yeah.
open?
Just like
from the
anybody
outside?
in this
That, or
room.
you can't.
They let you
All
in,
that,
you're here.
Or you care.
Well, I
Well,
like
that's
to have the ability to get in it from the outside.
Because that door there, there's no way to open from the outside.
Currently,
No,
I mean, we just can't.
nope.
It's
The others,
That one, I haven't looked at the other one, 'cause that one I was on physical,
Oh,
doesn't open
I
from the
didn't say
outside.
any bad then.
What doors?
So you're
Are you talking this door?
The one next to Angie's office.
What about it?
You can't open it from the outside.
No, you can't open any of them.
Okay, that's what I thought.
What, I don't have a key for them.
Well, it looks like the lock doesn't have a way, that locks it, there's no keyhole on the outside of the door.
For like a deadbolt lock?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, there isn't. There's
There's
just
no-
one keyhole, and that used to be, my understanding, was when they had that door was locked, but it doesn't fit that deadbolt lock. And I can't find a key to even go in that keyhole.
But the one you open on the inside doesn't have a key spot on the outside.
yeah, that'd have to be,
Removed or something.
well, yeah.
And the other one, that door there, looks like somebody had drilled it, because there wasn't even a keyhole spot for it.
Okay, I'm talking about pressure locks. Deadbolts are locked open, so you have it open. There used to be a key to be able to get into this building.
There used to be,
Mark
yes.
probably still has one. I know we had one.
Yeah, I don't know. I've never had one.
Well, I see the deadbolts coming on.
Well, he's wanting to leave the hardware on the outside, just to look pretty, but the hardware with like your fancy handle will have to come off on the inside. He said he can get one.
You're talking about locking it. You have to have a panic bar.
Right, that's what we're trying to look at. He was trying to see if they were wanting one that so you can still open it from
What
the
I'm
outside.
thinking is if we redesign and do something different, we want to be able to get in to those from the steps.
Okay, I figured you were gonna put a sign out there that said emergency exit only or something, and you would not be coming from the
What I
inside.
want to ask,
Nope, don't matter.
well,
We're good.
I don't know, yeah, let's,
That's the only question he had left.
all right. Andy won't be here, so. Andy won't be here.
Sorry.
Angie said she's kind of overloaded, she
The
won't be
stuff
here.
that he was gonna have Jeff sign for that grant, did you want it? Or just have him sign after, I got a copy for you, once he signs it. Do you want it up front? This is for that ISO grant. That's the proposal.
Mark's already given me all that.
Yeah, but see, this one, Jeff needs to sign this one, I had to change it.
Yesterday, Mark gave me this one and this one, but it's different now.
Well, the only difference is that I changed the sign because Jeff doesn't sign for all the comments.
But is that stuff all the same?
This is 2 pages for this one, and this one was the same. That was the proposal. That's the change at all. That's the one I thought you should sign. So if you got a copy of that, I wanted to make sure you were gonna get a copy. So. Sorry, I know it's last issue.
Yeah, it's 7.
Talk about it later.
So I gotta take her death certificate. Prove it. I wanna get it. Shouldn't have.
I just changed the signature was on, because this is more money. Yeah. That's fine, whatever you want.
No, what is this supposed to be?
This one,
Jeff needs to sign this one?
well, I changed the name, because he did have it set this way, but we're doing all the,
Okay, do you want Jeff to sign a new one of these?
that's what I got.
That's it right there.
And then since you have the other sheet, we're good there. Okay.
Okay.
I just wanted to make sure you knew kind of, this is kind of what, this is the proposal that says, here's what all the money's for, and then that is.
So that Jeff needs to sign both of these?
I got one for you that you want, so I can take one back and scan it. I figured you'd want a copy.
No, you get that, you got
We can talk about it in the meeting.
All right.
Yeah, let's not be careful.
No, it's fine. I thought it was easy for you.
Well, I hadn't looked at them,
No, you're fine.
so he'll sign those two, and then he,
Then that one, I'll just need a copy of the one. We'll talk about it.
got it now.
I mean, about half of it, I have.
Well, this afternoon, I gotta go to Indiana, take the baseball team, so as I get home, I can pick up.
I don't know where we are.
Hopefully the,
Big, and that's all.
your board is not.
It's a terrible, terrible football. You gotta eat.
Well,
Barry, I'll let you know. I haven't heard from him.
that's, that's what I thought, they're gonna have him look at it from a legal perspective, see how it's fine, but. Right. But, like the weed growing, the grass growing, just, there's a lot of stuff in there.
Andy's not coming today.
Do you have the, those sheets that I asked you for? What is permission?
I mean, I didn't print 7 of them, you want 7
No,
of
no.
them? Okay.
And, I mean, I know.
I wanted it for some reference.
Everybody's got,
I printed you 2, that way you can write on one and still have
but
one.
then,
All right.
So,
you go after, like, that person you stop on, and then if someone else gets pissed off, and they read my country, they say, it don't matter which country it's on, then you just, it's never ending.
I really do see those signs on it, because if you're the other nasty thing next door to you, right? For whatever reason, it's not
Well, a little bit, if it's a health issue and a safety issue with the original, maybe tighten that up a little bit, make it a little more
I would like to see if their last call on comments for the public hearing on the USDA grant for $4.5 million. Hearing none, the hearing is closed. Okay, Mr. Clerk, when you have a chance, would you plug in the camera? Oh, is it already on?
It's already on.
It's already on. Would you all please rise to do, or recite the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everybody to the April regular county board meeting of Edgar County. When you have a chance, Mr. Clerk, would you call the roll?
Patrick. Bruner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Here.
Farnham. Lawton.
Here.
Ludington.
Here.
And Voight.
Here. We have a quorum, and he is missing in action. Minutes from the March 8th meeting, 2023, regular meeting. You have those in your possession. What's your pleasure? Motion to approve? Blood moves. We got a second?
I'll second.
Russ seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Next, we have claims against the county. You've had those bills in your possession. Are there any comments or clarifications needed? Hearing none, a motion to approve the claims, please. Russ moves. Blood seconds. Any further comment? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. The claims are approved. Next, county board member claims. Are there any additions or corrections or clarifications needed on that? Those items? Hearing none, motion to approve. Dan moves. Russ seconds. Any further comments? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Public comment, we ask if you have any comments for the board on a variety of subjects. You're welcome to come to the podium, identify yourselves, and limit your talk to roughly 5 minutes.
Yes, I can. I'm
Young
Scott
man.
Foster with
Yes.
Edgar County Neighborhood Watch, and I brought with me Doug Cochran and Jen McIntosh. We started Neighborhood Watch a little over a year and a half ago. We had some issues here in Paris, so we decided to go to the city council to get them approved, to help out. At the time, there were 8 burglaries in 8 days, if you guys remember that. And so the concerned citizens went, we got their approval, we got started. Kind of fast forward a little bit, we divided the town into 12 sections. Cut it up. Got a lot of people involved and so forth, handing out one door to door and so forth. Fast forward a little bit farther, Doug had an idea about let's get to Kansas, see if Kansas wants to be part of this, because it was just going to be the Neighborhood Watch of Paris. We went to Kansas, they approved it, they loved it. They loved the idea of having it there too. So we decided to change it to Edgar County Neighborhood Watch. From there, we decided to go to Chrisman and added them, and they were all over it also. We went to Hume. Hume, the mayor there, Mike Eads, was really not on board because there's no crime in Hume. But the town folks really wanted us, so we started it there also and pushed forward. We started a Facebook page about that time, got things started. We've been very busy. Our Facebook page grew over to 2,000 people on it now, which is over 10% of the county. We're very proud of that. There's a generous donor here in town that decided to give us some money to move things forward a little bit farther and looking into some future things that we needed in this county. Last November, several of us got together and we wanted to bring flock cameras to our county, thinking we were one of the first to have it in the area, and as it turned out, we were one of the last. So we worked hard on that. We set up a meeting February 22nd. We invited you guys. Of course, Lisa was there, Dan was there, Jeff was there, and we had City Council of Paris, the City Councils of Kansas, Hume, and Chrisman were all there. We invited the Vermilion County Sheriff's Department and the City of Tilton, which were there. We invited the Coles County Sheriff's Department, and they were there along with the Chief of Police from Charleston. We had over 70 people in Memorial School. It was a great meeting. As it turned out, the City of Paris bought 5 right there, right that night. During that meeting, I spoke up and said that we would, Edgar County Neighborhood Watch would help put the cameras in the ground. We would help fund that. So that's what we've done. In that time, we ended up having over, well, I'll tell you, you guys wonderfully bought 5, plus 1 that's going to be portable to move around with our Sheriff's Department. Jeff can move it where he wants to. The city of Paris bought 5 also. Kansas bought 3. Chrisman and Hume each bought 1. And both of those also put in for a grant for a second one. The grant's in motion. So right there, we already have 16. The following Monday at Shiloh School District, they had a meeting. And the board decided to buy 2 more to put in front of Shiloh School, which is, we didn't ask for that, but they see the need of it. So now we're up to 20. A little bit farther, fast forward, the Kansas IDOT has approved Kansas's. They'll be going in the ground in May. And also Shiloh School District has been approved. The others we have not heard yet, but according to our flock guy, we should be good to go in June. The biggest thing that we're most proud about is that in my conversations with the flock folks, Edgar County Neighborhood Watch is the first watch in the state of Illinois. So we got to be first of something. But we're the first neighborhood watch group in the state of Illinois to not only have a flock meeting like we did, but to get our city of Paris and our county involved. And I don't know what to say about that. I also talked to him about, he does not do Indiana, but he's never heard of any neighborhood watch doing anything in Indiana. So we're very proud about that. What I brought you today is a check for $3,750, and that's for the installation of those 6 cameras. What we did was we cut up the money we had, we cut it up, dispersed it, and that's what we've done. So I want to hand you guys this, to shake your hands for thanking you all for participating in this, and definitely make it effective. But that's what we've done. We've also started a couple other things with the regular home cameras with the Ring doorbell, and Prairie Press has helped us out a ton with the QR code. It's very simple to sign up, and push that forward too. So, yes, Lisa.
A couple of things. Thank you so much for coming and for all that you've done. I follow the Facebook page, and kudos to often it is you, but when it has really become a point for people to get on there and say, hey, does anybody have a camera in my neighborhood because my car just got broken into, or my truck got stolen, whatever. And you're always so appropriate to come right back and say, have you reported it to the sheriff, have you reported it to the city? And I know that it's just another way for people to feel more safe and more heard. I think both of those are equally important, you feel heard and validated. The other thing was, you and I had talked about maybe there is some hesitancy outside of the city of Paris for not really understanding about registering your cameras because it directs you to go to the city of Paris because they have gotten it all organized to receive the information. And you and I had talked about maybe there needs to be another way to register cameras.
Well, that's why I got with Gary, because of that. The way it works is, yes, you register through Paris, but if a crime happens in Vermillion or Chrisman, it will separate to the police department or the county. The only one that has access to that actually is the PD, and that's what folks don't really understand because, you know, Russ wants to look at my cameras, I want to look at his. We can't do that. We can't, I actually don't know who actually is on the registration to Lisa. We have no clue. Only the PD does that. So, but yes, they separate out, and that's why, you know, Gary did what he did in the paper a couple weeks ago and actually put the QR. There is an event coming up April 20th out of Crestwood School. We've actually got some cards printed up. Hope you guys will come out to that. And we're going to hand those out too. So, and we'll have folks there to kind of explain about these cameras. I mean, it's just a helpful thing if your neighbor's got one. And the thing of it is, and why we're doing this, you guys, I know it's over 5 minutes, but the reason we're doing this, if there's a crime across the street from my house on Eads Avenue, PD can go right down the street and look and see who has cameras and ask if they can use them. They don't have to give them to them. They don't have to give the video, but if you've got them, it must help. So, and that's, Lisa, there was a there was a pickup that was stolen and, yeah, we're just talking about that. So pickup stolen and some electronics stolen out of a vehicle on the west side of town. So what she's talking about is I put it on there and asked anybody on Austin, Elm, West End Avenue and so forth to see if they saw anything. So, yes, sir.
Champaign paper I get every day, there's an article about they tracked somebody or found somebody because of the cameras. Every day there's something in it. That they use the
works.
camera to find somebody. Yes, it does.
It works.
On behalf of all the board, we wanted to thank you, and we appreciate what you're doing, and we appreciate the donation, and we're headed in the right direction.
Yes, sir. Yes, but
Yeah, you're talking about all the villages and cities and everything involved with the Neighborhood Watch. Are you seeing very many people in the country participating, you know, on Facebook, or is it more of the city?
honestly, I don't know all the addresses for everybody that is on there. I mean, honestly, I don't know.
Well,
But,
yeah.
I mean, they see it. I mean, I approved 14 this week, since this weekend. 14 more people have come on. So the Facebook page is just growing leaps and bounds. We never thought it would be, you know, we started out with 40 people on it.
Mhm.
You know,
You say 2,000?
it's over 2,000.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
but 2,200.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Pretty neat. Well, with that, I want to give you, Jeff, a check.
Thanks, Scott.
You betcha, Carl.
And the rest of you, for everything you
I think you should do it, thanks.
Thank you.
Well,
You
well,
betcha.
don't get hung up in my
In your
purse. Yeah. It's a dangerous place.
He probably thinks it's his anyway.
Shut up.
Just kidding.
Spell him.
Sure.
There's 3 more.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, okay, great.
This way.
Okay.
That way I got light.
ah, perfect.
Okay.
Scott, Jeff, and then Doug.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Got that?
Yeah, you wanna look happy?
There we go.
Let it go, Jeff.
Take it. I don't think he wants it.
I just wanted to, okay, thank you again.
Thanks, Lisa. Appreciate it. Yeah, I'll
Take
shoot
charge.
you.
Thanks. Much work you done on that?
Just check.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Are there any other public comments this morning? Hearing none, we're going to skip down to item number 22. And we're going to, you have a copy of the resolution. I think we had a copy that has been amended, given to us, what, 2 months ago or a month and a half ago. So we need a motion. Well, would you like me to read it?
That's up to you, I know it's a little long-winded.
Well, have you all had a chance to read it? I don't want to read to you something you've already read. So is there a motion to approve that? Carl moves, Lisa seconds. Any further discussion on the support for the Edgar County Farm Bureau? We got 71,000 farms in Illinois, and 96 of them, 96% which are family owned, a third of which includes livestock. Edgar County alone has 639 accounts for the farms, and it employs 1,951 jobs and 20% of the total jobs in the county. Just wanted to highlight a couple things. And we appreciate everything that the Farm Bureau does. We think have always had a good, strong partnership. I think it has been renewed the last few years, and we've been challenged on several fronts and worked together, I think, very well. And we appreciate that, the input, the support, and so forth. So we have a motion and a second. Are we ready to vote? We have a roll call on the resolution, please.
Bruner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Lawton,
Yes.
Luddy.
Yes.
Okay, it is approved. Do you have something to say now?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I have with us, as you may know, Phil Wright. He's our local affairs committee chairman and board member for Sims Township. And we wanted to come and give you guys this plaque today as a thank you. It's something that we can kind of rotate every so many years after elections and kind of keep it going. This is an awesome plaque that our home office made up, so got that for you guys. We thank you for all of your support with us. This is not easy to get passed in places, and it's pretty awesome that we can pass it easily here. It's been passed all the way from Cook County to Southern Illinois, believe it or not. So we're glad to put Edgar County on the list, and we appreciate all that you do. And as always, we're here for anything you may need.
Cameras.
Yeah, smile this time.
I come with a smile.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
You wanna be up here?
No. No. I can't smile.
All right, guys, that'll work, thank you.
Thanks so much,
Phil.
Go ahead.
Thank you, guys. We said.
Thank you, Wyatt.
Appreciate it.
Lots of handshaking today.
Yeah.
We'll have to get this a look at. Sit down.
Lisa, meeting.
Let's do it.
Mark told me he would be down later to talk about his.
Okay, then we'll get with that.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll,
One thing on this,
please.
I saw this morning, that farm property brings in 58% of the taxable income for the county. I didn't figure it.
For the county and school districts and everything, so. It is literally the backbone of our community and our
Or in
county.
the world, we're just here.
Yep. Okay. We're gonna go back to form. Item 9, authorize chairman to execute property documents with Paris Associates 1 LLC. That has to do with the, making sure that we have easements to put the parking lot on the north side of the new annex on Sheriff Street. Are there any questions about that? No cash changing hands, it's just, do you have anything you want to add to it?
Just some
John?
housekeeping really more than anything.
Right.
So,
I need a motion to approve that authorization. Russ moves. Phil seconds. Any further questions? Think we're ready to vote?
Bruner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Lawton,
Yes.
and Luddy.
Yes.
Okay. All right, next we have the acceptance of a bid for the recommended bid for the aerial photography to be flown in the spring of 24. Dina?
We received 3 bids. A bid from a company called SAM for $93,000 for 6-inch ortho imagery. The second bid was from a company called Surdex for $69,000 for 6-inch imagery. And my personal choice is the company called Ayers. We have used them before. They've offered a bid of $45,950 for 6-inch ortho imagery. An additional $24,000 if we would choose to, again, to go with 3-inch imagery over 5 villages, for a total bid of $69,950. So for $1,000 more, we can get extra, the 3-inch images over the 5 villages. So I would ask that you approve that we continue with the company we've used in the past and also has the best bid, company called Ayers.
when you say 5 villages, that's not like Paris or Crispin, it's just the little county.
No, it is Paris, Brockton, Hume, Kansas, and Chrisman.
Okay, the bigger one.
They just fly lower and we have more clear images.
Okay.
With more and more gated villages, ortho imagery is becoming more and more important to us because we can't see villages, gated properties. You just can't get back to see anything, and it's not fair if somebody has a 3-car garage and an in-ground pool and I tell you, well, they're not paying taxes on it because I can't see it. That's just not fair to others, so.
How often are we gonna fly?
3 years would be the optimum. When we do every 4 years, that same quad every year gets the same new flight. And the last person in the quad always has, which is right now, it's Paris. So every time we run Paris, we have 3-year-old flights. So 3 years would move that around as we do quads. Quads every 4 years, images every 3.
And please remind me how this is funded.
The GIS funds, which mostly comes from the documents recording. There's a special fee that you're paid when you record a document, and a portion of that's dropped to the GIS funds.
I'm paying for it.
The thing I'm concerned about going with the 3-inch, I just want, is sustainability. You and I talked about it. The fund doesn't generate enough money every 3 years to pay for this, or it doesn't seem to. If you look at your sheet here, under GIS, sooner or later, you're gonna run out of funds.
You would have to draw about $25,000 a year
Right.
for recording, and I don't know if that's.
And we had talked about either going to every 4 years or maybe skipping a 3-inch 1 year and then going to 3-inch the other year. I'm just pointing that out. If you folks want to go ahead and do the thing, that's fine. I'm just, as financial person, I'm trying to point out that that really isn't sustainable forever.
You never had the 3-inch before,
This last time.
Right, was the first time.
so you currently have the 3-inch funds.
And it's a huge difference, absolutely.
Is the document fee a set amount, or is it based upon the value of the property?
No, it's, I'll get $2 or $3 out of the recording fees dropped in GIS funds.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a set fee.
It is a set
Out of the
fee.
recording fee.
Okay.
What's your pleasure, folks?
I'd go with what she wants.
That's fine. I
And
did
then
my,
in 3 years or what,
we can readjust, maybe things will pick up. Who knows?
look at it, and if we need to go back to 4 years, then we can.
Yeah.
Also, there was a drop, the last time their bid was $50,000 and the bid was $45,900, so the price went down a little. I was surprised, but, so who knows what that pricing might be in 3 years. And we're also, several companies that inquired are drone companies, so that's a possibility in the future that it may go to drones rather than an actual flight for a airplane.
Which might be, as long as it gives us the quality,
Right.
and that's what there's very little data on yet, right?
Right. They have to submit, I have flash drives for all 3 companies, they submit samples.
So would you restate how much with the 3-inch that we're going to be?
I would ask that you approve the company heirs who bid for the 6-inch across the entire county, $45,950, and an additional $24,000 for 3-inch imagery over 5 villages, for a total bid of $69,950.
$69,950. So do we have a motion for that amount from the heirs company? Phil makes the motion. Lisa seconds. Further discussion? Hearing none, would you call the roll, please?
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farnham,
Yes.
Lawton,
Yes.
and Ludington.
Yes.
We're gonna skip item 11 till Judge Isaac gets here. Next is to approve an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Paris for GIS information. You have that intergovernmental agreement. I know we all kind of said that wasn't a problem, but we thought we would get an intergovernmental agreement that made it very specific about the use of it, confined to the use by city or governmental agencies, and it would be a one-time deal. If we did it again, it'd have to be with the agreement of whatever board was in place. And Dina has commented on it, and so has Ross. Do you have any issues that you wish to discuss with the board?
Actually, it says if they want it again, it'll be at cost, whatever that is.
Right, well, yes, but I mean,
Sure.
as far as being gratis,
Yeah.
it's just
A
this
one-time.
one-time deal, okay? And that way, comments from the board, well, how can they use it for private use and private, and we wanted to tie that up a little better, so it was specific. So is there a motion to approve that intergovernmental agreement? Lisa moves, Russ seconds, further discussion? Mr. Clerk, would you call the roll?
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Lawton,
Yes.
and Ludington.
Yes.
It does carry, thank you. Next, we need to file Administrative Order 2023-7 to reappoint Martha Irwin as jury commissioner in Edgar County. Do I have a motion for that order? Dan moves. Carl seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none, do we need to, okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. It does carry, and the appointment is made. Next, resolution to accept, accept of office oath
That's
in.
one.
Oh, I'm sorry, checked off the wrong one. Thank you. Resolution to reappoint M. Scott Ingram, trustee, Paris Community Fire Protection District of Edgar County. Motion to make that? Russ moves. Carl seconds. Mr. Clerk?
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Lawton,
Yes.
and Ludington.
Yes.
Resolution to, it does carry, resolution to acceptance of office, oath and bond of M. Scott Ingram, trustee of Paris Community Fire Protection District, Edgar County, Illinois. Motion? Yes, Russ, and then Dan. Any further discussion? Mr. Clerk?
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Lawton,
Yes.
and Ludington.
Yes.
Next, appoint Rodney Wood, Commissioner, Brockton Drainage District, East and West Ditches. Carl moves. Dan seconds. I saw you blink, Dan, so.
Okay.
So we have a motion and a second, so when you're ready, call the roll.
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Lawton,
Yes.
and Ludington.
Yes.
Next, we have that is carried, acceptance to accept resignation of Jesse Lusader from 911 board, effective immediately. Carl moves. Russ seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Next is the appointment of Adam Webb to the 911 board to fill vacancy created by the resignation of Jesse Lusader with the term ending, I think it's November 20th or 30th, 2024. Motion, Carl? Dan seconds. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It is carried. Adam, we appreciate the time you already put in and the attention that you do pay to a number of different subjects that face the county. And we look forward to your service to the board. Next is a resolution as to acceptance of office oath and bond to Pat Road, trustee Human Fire Protection District. Motion? Yeah, Russ, and then Carl. When you're ready, sir.
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
Luddy.
Yes.
Does pass. Resolution as to reappointment of Pat Road, trustee, Hume Fire Protection District. Need a motion, please. Russ moves. Dan seconds. When you're ready, sir.
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
And Luddy.
Yes.
And next, appoint, that does carry, appoint Greg Henry, Dale English, and Tim Hansel to Farmland Committee. I would like to point out that John Chittick was a member of that, but he has gone into the Peace Corps, and we appreciate his service. So he is no longer able to serve. I think he's in South America, so it'd make it tough for him to make the meetings. And Tim has been gracious enough to consent to serve on that board. So is there a motion? Carl moves, Russ seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It does carry. Thank you, folks. Let's see. Does the judge need a call, or?
He said he had a real short hearing, and he would be right down.
Okay, well, we're gonna go ahead with the department head reports, and, so. Josh?
Nothing really has changed in the highway department since Monday, I guess.
Okay. All right.
I think everything else, county-wise, is going along pretty well, so.
Adam?
Nothing really new since Monday. Kind of globally, I've worked with you guys on an AED project for the whole county. Right now, that I know of, we have about 80 AEDs throughout Edgar County, and I'm sure there's some that I don't know about. But a lot of those are coming end of life. So I've been working with a lot of area businesses and trying to get those updated. But with the graciousness of the hospital and the foundation, works that we've got, right now I have 5 on hand with an additional 5 on order. We are going to start an application process to donate AEDs throughout Edgar County and our whatever service area may be in need. So come hopefully Monday, there'll be an application process, a link on our website. If someone is in need of an AED, they can put an application for a donation. And I've worked, this was originally going to be a one-time issue, but I feel it's important enough we're going to make this an ongoing annual donation process. There may not be a specific open time frame. It's just going to be the link will be live all year round, and it'll be a donation as needed and as supplies are available.
Any questions of Adam, please?
What's the life of them?
The units that we got for you guys, we're looking about 8 years roughly. 5 to 10 is kind of the normal depending on AED, but we're hoping with these units we can get about 8 years out of them. Kind of depends on how they're stored, how they're used and abused, bouncing around the back of squad cars, code effect things, but that's generally what I say. I would say have a plan to replace in 5, but more than likely, you're definitely gonna need to replace by year 10.
So like the ones on the wall out there, they last a lot longer than back of the squad car probably.
Theoretically, yes.
Okay.
They're climate controlled, they're not bouncing around everywhere, so less wear and tear on them.
How do you know when there's no, is there a thing, like a red light comes on?
Yeah,
and
there
says-
actually is an indicator. There's a window kind of up on the top that has a check mark in it, and if there's a red X instead of a green check mark, and that unit is either needs service or is no longer serviceable. But working with the program with the fire department right now, that we're gonna hopefully touch every AED every 6 months to make sure everything is still in proper working order.
So someone is actually keeping an eye.
That program used to be run by the old ambulance service. It kind of fell off, but I've kind of taken this as a pet project along with my other 1,000 irons in the fire, but this is big enough. I feel this is major importance, so it's kind of high on my priority list right now. So we're gonna work to make this
hopefully get even more community-wide, but I'm still working on a program with 911 to map those AEDs. So if a call comes out for a cardiac arrest, they will be able to locate if there is an AED nearby, they can tell that person.
Okay.
Yes. So yeah, with all these new AEDs, I do have a large stock of pads and batteries. One of the reasons I went with these, one, it's compatible with our equipment, but two, the pads are readily available, and the batteries, you can actually buy these batteries over the counter, as opposed to having to specially order them through the AED manufacturer.
Okay. Anything else, Adam? Dina?
Probably about right now, a couple of my girls are at the post office delivering about 10,500 reassessment notices, so watch your mailbox. I checked with Gary this morning and he's good to go. Publication will be this Saturday in the newspaper. I believe he said about 8 pages of reassessment. Appeals, we'll allow appeals through May 15.
Who has the quadrennial this year?
This past year was the southeast corner, Hunter, Stratton, Elbridge, Sims, and Grandview.
Okay, and who's due up next?
Due up next is the northeast corner, so that would be Prairie, Broads Creek, Edgar, and Ross.
Okay. Any questions for Dina, please? Tom, airport?
Don't have any news really of any sort.
Okay. Hi, Jill.
Hey. I don't think I was here in March. We held our weather spotter class. We had about 40 people in attendance. So Ed, from the National Weather Service, was very happy with the attendance. We have been busy just doing trainings and things like that that wasn't available to us during COVID. I have earned my PDS certificate through IEMA, and Aaron's like a class or two away from that, and so we both will get recognized at the conference in September. We have a couple community outreach things we're doing. We have a program we're trying to get together, but with American Red Cross and the fire departments, called Sound the Alarm, and it's like the Red Cross will provide free smoke alarms and things like that. So we're trying to get that up and running. However, every time we try to meet up with Jamie, our Red Cross lady, she has some severe weather or is reporting somewhere else to help out. So we have yet to set up a date for that yet, but it looks like it'll be coming sometime this summer. And that's about it. We're just trying to alleviate our phone situation we're currently having. We have Frontier, never worked, so we've looked at a couple, depending on if we would be relocated into another building. We have looked at internet phones, prepaid phones, things like that, all the different options. So we feel like we have kind of a good handle on a new thing to go out there. So.
Questions? Okay. Callie, do you have anything for us this morning? Okay. Nice to see you.
I guess I have a question. So you're having phone trouble, so if there was an emergency or something, you potentially could not have any phone service out there.
We have Frontier. We have the crappiest service I've ever, like we get constantly.
And you, Tom, you had the same situation?
And if it does work, it's so staticky, I have to take, if somebody calls me, like business wise, like I have people calling about the storms. Guy was trying to call, I had to literally get his phone number and call back because the phone lines were so staticky. We've been paying this, it's crazy, it's outrageous. We have no other options. Our internet out there, we've talked to Ross and stuff, but we don't have like the fiber or whatever it is out there. So we don't, I guess, have strong enough internet to support the internet phones. So like I said, we're working on, we met with FirstNet, a couple people went, so we have a couple options through them. We've talked to Verizon. We've talked, like I said, several places. We've called around to several, I've called around to several other counties in our region to see what they use. So yeah, but regardless, if we would go with this cell phone thing, which is fine, it meets our requirements through IEMA, but we do have to have one, like I guess one phone line at least, a business line.
So if you get moved to this new building, we'll have the landline And-
Yes, the landline would be fine, and we could still, take place, ready-to-use phones, and like I said, that's another thing we can talk about, but like, it's, basically you pull them out whenever it's emergency, or we can get desktop, internet phones, you can pull out as you need, so we've been researching and found a couple pretty good solutions, I think, so.
But now that we've run the fiber from here,
That's what I was just gonna say.
Mhm.
You will have landlines through fiber.
Yeah, but I said we won't necessarily need to have those, but for our, EOC, with all the lines coming out, you know, like that, so we found resolutions to that, so we don't
Okay.
have to have all those phones out, and,
That's fine.
so yeah, so we'll discuss it. I was
Yep.
gonna tell you afterwards, so.
No, that's fine.
thank
Great.
you.
Augie?
Sure. So we finished the election April the 4th, and as most of you know, the turnout was very low. It was just a little under 15%. And so the statute requires us to wait 14 days after the election to see if any mail ballots come in. And then, if so, only those that were postmarked on or before election day would be counted. So we have until next Tuesday for that. And then a week from today, we'll officially canvass the votes and close out the election. So, again, like I usually do, I want to thank everybody that helped make it possible. Turnout was less than desirable, but as far as the operations, we had no issues whatsoever. Everything went smooth. We got out of here at a decent hour. So I'd like to thank our vendor, Liberty Systems, thank my staff, the election judges, and everybody that volunteered in one way or another to help make it successful. So
Any questions about Augie?
When's the next election?
that's going to be in March. It'll be a primary. And I don't
Okay.
have the date in front of me,
Right.
but
So the townships, when do they vote? When's their next election?
I think they're on that.
That particular one?
I think they're on that year also.
Yeah, I can't remember from one time to the next, was hoping it wasn't a separate one like this one where, you know, it costs the county about the same no matter how many, you know, what it is.
We had 1,700 voters, you know, out of 12,100, so it costs the same amount of money, we put in the same amount of work and the whole bit.
I know I was at 4:35 o'clock and I was number 27 in Vermillion out of, you know, 3 townships. But I was just thinking, hopefully the township election isn't a separate one where you're spending a lot of money for, you know what I mean?
It's a separate election, isn't it?
Yeah, the price per vote is just,
Right. But I noticed that, of course, most of the elections, there wasn't a race, basically. I mean, you like the school boards, a lot of them were just, you had 4 vacancies, 4 people, but I noticed like in Hume, there was races and there was a big turnout there. And there was another one that there was a race. Of course, I don't know what the turnout was in Paris. You know, there was the mayoral election and then commissioners. But
anything else, Augie? Okay. We'll go back to item number 11, acceptance of bid for courthouse, or courtroom modernization grant for courtroom 1. Your Honor?
No disrespect.
I understand.
For purposes of what I believe the county needs to approve, give a quick history of what's, because it's probably the first time maybe you heard about it or you saw something in your packet or materials. I've probably been an attorney here 30-something years. And one of the complaints we consistently heard in the upstairs courtroom from either jurors in the back row
for people that sit in the gallery, that get farther into the corners of the courtroom, even if they sit in the first row, is they can hear what's going on. Get frustrated, like they think some secret, or they just get frustrated on what's going on. And that's from victims to just spectators to family members of parties involved. Complicated by, of course, we face the judge, so we're facing away from the crowd, and we have very soft-spoken people in the last few years, or people that mumble, or hearing impaired public defenders spoke very softly. So an idea of mine to somehow enhance the audio of the courtroom. And I'm not technologically gifted, and so I just thought we could just get a couple speakers and put a microphone up and that would help everything. Not quite that simple. But in trying to figure out, and I guess I should add, in my 30 years, there's probably been one technological advancement up in that courtroom. I don't know if you can visualize it if you've been in the courtroom, but it was like a movie projector screen. You press a button from the judge, like a TV remote, and the screen comes down so you can project testimony or evidence or pictures for the jury or police interviews that we use. We could then present to the jury. We used to have to do it by getting like a whiteboard out and putting it on a tripod and hoping it could fit the, so that was really the only technological advancement. So in trying to, and so if you, like with Phil, you're all really old enough to understand the AV carts in school they used to have. That's how we would have to bring stuff out to try and project onto the screen in front of the jury and hope it worked and everything worked out. It was always kind of clumsy. So now, looking into just the speaker to enhance the audio, the 5th Judicial Circuit Chief Judge, currently is Judge O'Shaughnessy in Danville, just sent out a mailer about grants that are available for courtroom enhancements. And I don't know if it's part of COVID or what have you. It seemed like a time to take a shot at it. Can't hurt to try. And so this guy from Nomad, his name's Mike Belichick, he's on the Nomad, we maybe have a copy. He came down and basically said, here's what we can do. And this is not going to in any way interact with the state system that's already set up, these microphones and cameras. Yeah, second camera. So it's not being recorded. It's simply to enhance audio and to enhance visual presentation of evidence. And so he showed what we could do, and I'm like, well, I can't afford that, but it's nice to know that's out there. He gave us an estimate. We submitted under Judge Sullivan's signature. He's the presiding judge. And 5 days later, we got approval for all of it. It's kind of like, ooh. It's like the dog caught the car, so what do we do now? And I believe also the circuit clerk got a pretty substantial grant as well for the project she was using to enhance her office. So in all, maybe 180, don't quote me, I mean, it's somewhere in that neighborhood, but our program is 127,000 change, which is different than I thought, putting up a couple of small Bose speakers and some microphones to enhance the video, the audio. So what will happen is on the slanted wall facing the jury and most of the courtroom can see, there'll be like a 70-inch monitor put up. At each of the lawyer stations, the witness station, and the judge's station, there'll be a monitor or whatever's up there. We'll be seeing each of those spots. Separate audio ability microphones will be, and the witness chair actually will have a video monitor. Because one of the enhancements is that the witness being talked to by the attorney who would have like a podium, as I'm saying behind, but this podium is going to be fixed towards the center of the courtroom. There'll be an ability to, like, I guess, interactive screens. So if I'm asking the witness, where were you standing at this particular point, can you circle it? And you'd be able to touch a screen and circle it. And everyone would see it on the monitor, go up on the monitor. Basically, it's to go paperless in a way. And the audio will be controlled by the little 7-inch monitor on the desk. We'll break into zones, but it should be able to enhance everything here in the corners, the jury box, the tables, the podium, the witness stand. So it's beyond what I thought we could do, but the grant was there, and so it was bid out. Josh helped and took the lead on getting the bid out and talking to the contractor. There was only one bid. It's pretty advanced. That's this Nomad system, the contract you had. They had a walkthrough. They came back again, and so we have the ability to improve the courtroom. It seems like they're going to start 2 Mondays, 24th, spend that week of putting the physical structures in, and then they'll come back again to educate, make sure everything works, educate, and then there'll be the availability of online training. So not only the people that use the courtroom regularly, but attorneys that need, if there's going to be a trial, typically we don't see a lot of presentations done. I can think of like maybe one hearing where attorneys from Chicago who didn't realize they couldn't use their laptop and send all these things out to people, and it was like trying to use the laptop and putting it on the bench so everybody could see it. And then the other one was, when I put up the screen 10 years ago, the defense attorney in a murder case just said, well, can I use what the state had? And that was like an audio-visual card you bring out, you try and plug things in, you try and kick it and get it working, and so he tried to use it, and then he popped up something like family, he got into the laptop and punched the wrong thing, and it didn't work for him, so he just quickly shut it down and left it alone. But there'd be an online training for anybody that wants to use in the courtroom this ability to use the monitors and the audio. So there's follow-up and service. And so the long and short of it is the courtroom will be updated to as, well, other courtrooms had the capacity to it, not to this level of technology. And the county is putting in no money. The bid with a little bit of discussions came right at they're a little bit over, but we're giving like a discount on the way you pay the invoice or something. And Josh got it down to we're going to pay nothing from the county, give us what we get under the grant money. So the county won't have to come up with any other money, and there'll be a substantial improvement to the delivery of audio and visual in the courtroom upstairs, which again, we don't have a lot of trials, but when we do, it's nice to have the cutting edge abilities that you see in other courtrooms that we visit, whether it's in our circuit or even throughout the state. It'll be pretty advanced. And so without any, the idea is the county's building that's getting improved upon, there should not be any cost to the county in having these, and I don't think there's really any running lines to make sure electrical is available for the different monitors or the podium that the lawyer will stand in the middle of the courtroom at, or the big monitor on the wall. I mean, nothing substantial or structural will be done to the courtroom or courthouse. So it's really with minimum invasion, a pretty good benefit to the courtroom to bring it up to snuff, as well as there's an enhancement for hearing impaired people that is ADA compliant. That wasn't even trying to get Old Courthouse ADA compliance is the challenge itself, and this system comes with an ability to do that for some of the hearing impaired if we have difficulties with that. And we did have a case a few years ago where we couldn't, despite a lot of effort, we're in a difficulty if you have a witness or a party that's hearing impaired, and how you communicate other than hiring a personal court reporter to stand there next to them and type everything out they can see, which is obviously very expensive. So it has other built-in advantages I think that we'll see as we unleash what it does. I'm kind of reminded of my father with a VCR. He just played movies on it. Thought, this is great, and didn't realize you could record stuff or time it or whatever. Using 10% of what it could do. The training and the information that Mr. Pelichek delivered at the briefings, as well as the follow-up that they have in the scope of the work. It's also a document you have with you. Hopefully allow us to lawyers that again want to enhance their presentations, they'll have the ability to do so in our courtroom.
We'll open it up for questions. Is there a motion to approve the bid from Nomad AV Systems in the amount of $127,295 as described? Let's see. Lisa moves, Russ seconds. Now, are there any questions of His Honor on these items to be voted on? Yes.
I'd love a field trip when you get that all installed, because I've peeked my head in that door, but that's fortunately the furthest I've ever been.
Yes, it'd be nice to show it off once we figure out how it all works.
Maybe we could do that after a board meeting.
And it's the public's courtroom, so you're welcome, once it's set up, and be able to look in, but we can certainly do that.
I'd like to congratulate you, Judge Isa, for your efforts in this and whoever else was involved, because this is amazing.
Yes, we have had help. Josh spearheaded the mechanics of getting a grant, but this is just pure luck, really. I mean, it's like, okay, here's a wish list, sure, here's what we'd love to do, and then they gave it even beyond that, so really it comes from the AOIC, which is the bureaucratic arm of the court system. They have these court improvement grants for the other courthouses, and we were fortunately recognized at this point. So.
There's no need for anything really here in this courtroom, is there?
We really can't have a jury trial here
Right, I know.
place.
I mean, that up there mostly for jury trials, but just for the regular court that we have, is there anything that you're aware of that we need here?
You know, that's an antiquated space.
Right.
And so at one point, so when I was state's attorney, we talked with the sheriff's department, and there was a thought process of trying to utilize those two doors and have a barrier to what you would be considered sitting in the well of the court. So the benches would, and that kind of barrier would be around the well of the court, and then people could come in and sit as the seating goes around. I'm not spatially, engineers can do it probably pretty easily, but there's spaces that make this more a safer place to practice. Like for example, where Phil is sitting, Russ, that's where the attorneys typically sit.
Right.
And right now you don't know who's at your back.
Yeah. So that's something maybe we need to talk about sometimes, set up a meeting, talk
I
about.
would think it could be enhanced because the larger criminal hall on Monday afternoons and Thursday mornings are down here.
Right.
It's what we call Calco. A lot
Right.
of people show up.
Right.
I don't know there's been instances, but I never was comfortable sitting there with
Right.
a felon you're trying to, prosecute sitting behind you and you're just kind of like, oh, everybody's watching. It's just a safety issue, nothing really happened.
Yeah.
But there's
There
times.
is another issue. The elevator does not meet ADA standards because if you're sitting in a wheelchair, it's very difficult. I understand to punch the buttons and so forth. So if Josh could connect with you, if they would, since we're doing some renovations, even if we could get some shared about the mechanical and the electronics, I don't know whether anything like that might be available to us through this grant program. It's just a thought.
Yeah, so this was like courtroom, so I don't know, but I don't know how, you can stretch things about, well, certain clerks have their programs and that deals with
Maybe
courtroom,
this
so we
is
can
more of a
investigate it.
priority, but, I mean, it'd be worth a shot to look at it. I mean, obviously, we need the elevator to get to the two courtrooms,
Right.
so, okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you, I will then communicate this now.
Yep,
Mr.
we'll go
Chairman.
ahead and vote on this.
Yeah, you got
Yeah,
it first.
we're gonna vote.
Okay, I'm sorry. He
Trying
was-
to be cordial here. Would we, any further discussion? Mr. Clerk?
Brunner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Lawton.
Yes.
Luddy.
Yes.
It is carried, so it is done, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay. We've got, you got your sheets from Don. I did want to point out that he has said that we're at 560,000 last year, and so we are in the hole. And I want to point out that 650,000 of that is in payroll that has not been distributed to the Highway Department, 911, or to the Health Department. So those items plus nothing's been distributed from Fund 100 to the levied funds of Social Security, retirement. So those add up to over 12% of the total. So we're actually into the positive. Plus we had spent well over $300 or $580,000 on projects that we had not spent last year. So that accommodates, we would be well into the plus category compared to a year ago. Anyway, take a look at that. The audit is going on. In fact, they were here all of last week, and in a couple of days this week. They are no longer here. They're waiting for certain documents from a couple of different departments, but I think all is going well. Augie, have you heard anything different?
I haven't heard anything different.
Okay. Dan, do we need to move? I think we need a closed session anyway on personnel, so we can, I know you were talking about some issues.
We really haven't made a decision on what we talked about yesterday, so.
Okay.
We don't need a meeting then.
Okay. All right. Well, we may need, Carl, do we still want to have a closed session today on 911, et cetera?
Yes.
A brief one, at any rate. Phil, do you have anything? Russ? Carl?
No.
Go skip over Lisa this time, no. Lisa?
Yeah, we need to finish up or have further conversation on the proposed solar ordinance. You know, when I handed that out the other day, if it was in blue, it was basically taking what we had in the old ordinance and putting it into this new template. But if it was in red, those were the things that we needed to discuss further. And this is the same one, so I still don't have page numbers. So if you go to where it says vegetative screening, this is where the solar construction folks would be required to put some sort of a visual screen between the solar structures and the non-participating landowner or homeowner. And it says, so we can set specifics or we can leave the language the way it is, but it's very vague. And I can see a company taking advantage of our vagueness. But I don't really have a feel for how to make it more clear. But it says, the vegetative screening shall include a continuous line of native evergreen foliage and or native shrubs and or native trees and or any existing wooded area and or plantings of tall native grasses and other native flowering plants. It's a lot of words, but it doesn't really say anything specific. And I don't know, Jeff, do you want me to just make a note of that when we send it to the attorney?
I would.
Okay.
I mean, with the boards, that's just my suggestion, is that if he could elaborate on if we need to be more specific there, based on other ordinances. By the way, I heard you talking about it. We do have in the process of Brokaw becoming our attorney, and he has agreed to review this. We're trying to get this stuff to him by the end of the week so that he can get it
right. And I'm very
processed.
grateful for that.
Because we're up, I know it's only the 12th, but we're up against it. We only
Is
got
it May
about
1st or June 1st?
May 23rd or 4th
Yeah. And I
is
still
when we
do
have
the
to have it
red
done.
one.
Thought we'd have a special meeting, piggybacked onto a study session to get it passed, okay?
And then on ground cover and buffer areas, I realized one, you know, this is where what's under the solar panels. Some ordinances say they want it planted in a grass and mown, and the others say a pollinator plot, which I was sharing pollinator plots I'm a little skeptical on because first they're just a lot of weeds, and they can be very noxious weeds that are against the law, which it says, due to potential county liability under the, it's not it. Must be planted and maintained to be free of invasive or noxious species as identified by Fayette County Soil and Water District. But I was also realizing, NRCS and SWCD deal with SOSI, waterways. And there is a requirement that you mow that. Is it once a year? I'm thinking it's once a year. I should ask about that. But anyway,
Oh, that's a lot of work, isn't it? Like, they gotta even keep the area clean underneath
they
all
do
this.
they do it now unless it is a pollinator plot. The young man that used to work for us spends his summer mowing down south of Kansas. So they do it. And I don't know if that is part of the, there's an ordinance down there. But that was just my other thought, was maybe I needed to get with NRCS and just make sure that we had that one sentence in there so that it would get mown once a year. Otherwise,
If it's pollinator, you're,
but if it's pollinator, it's not getting mown at all.
No.
It's just free for all wild.
yeah.
You know, they
that
go
would
in, they
not be
plant some
good.
flower seed, they hope it
That'd
works.
look pitiful.
Yeah, it would.
It does, and it also, and again, this goes back to safety, it also increases the opportunity for out-of-control fire.
Yeah, I never thought
So
about that.
I am not in favor of pollinator for a couple of different reasons.
I agree.
Okay. Okay. The other thing, and Jeff and I talked a little bit about this too, is on fee schedule and permitting process. I found out that what we had in our old ordinance would be vastly under what we would need in the new ordinance, partly because we are required to do a hearing. And if we did a hearing that got contentious, the costs could soar, because you have to have a hearing officer, your attorney, a venue, and a court reporter. So, but I don't have a good feel for what we should charge per megawatt. And so if you're all right with that, I would also leave that to the attorneys to give us some recommendations.
I agree.
Okay. So there's discrepancy. The state law says that we have to have our prices in line with other counties of our size, but none of us know what the other does, so, and that information's not out there. And the other is, the attorney at the program I went to said, charge what you want. The companies, wind or solar, are not gonna fight you because they know in the end, anything you don't spend, they're gonna get back. So that's conflicting information. So, okay, thank you, that's all I needed. Short Sands, which is the one that's just north of Kansas, I've been copied on quite a few communications between Svetlana from Short Sands and Kevin from Chastain, who Kevin will be the one that reviews their decommissioning plan. But Short Sands, the engineers are at the point of determining the specifics about the posts. So they're getting closer and they are wanting to get that started this summer, but they are not holding it up. So, and whenever the decommissioning review is done by Chastain, then he will come and present. So.
Chastain, that's the.
Yeah. And there is a company out of Springfield that does most of the decommissioning studies for wind and solar in Illinois, and the name of the company is Patrick. So in the future, we will need to decide that as well, who we're going to hire to do decommissioning, because that is specialized. Kevin said he has done this before. I don't know to what extent or anything. We just get word in here. So that's what we did with this last one, which was kind of our trial. Dina, bless her heart, thank you so much. And I have not gone further. I don't know if you've looked at any of the permits.
That's all I received. I sent the entire group, 102 counties.
Okay.
That's all I got.
We don't have permits documents, really. We just acknowledged receipt and cashed the check on this last one. And so Dina checked with her peers to get some permit stamps for us, so that we could be a little more official the next time. So thank you. And that is something I also should get on, because I really think that starting June 1, it's gonna start popping up.
So what's your process for the wind thing? Kind of the same thing you're going through right now?
Only a whole lot more,
Okay.
yeah.
Each county up
I
north,
had the easy one first.
still a lot of trouble for wind, but Pike County, Iroquois, still a lot of trouble.
Pike County passed an ordinance, or passed, they had a non-binding referendum, and it passed 71% not in favor of wind to 29. But that was put on the ballot in February before this new law was passed, and I was gonna ask that and I didn't. I really don't, A, it was non-binding, and B, I don't think that you can turn it down like that anymore. You're forced.
APES company said it was not a true, whatever it was,
Right.
wasn't right, or
Yeah,
wasn't
it was
accurate or
non-binding,
something.
but
Yeah.
even if they had made it binding, it would be conflicting with the new
Right.
law, so it just made everybody feel better. It lets you know how the county's voters felt about it.
No, the government doesn't care how they feel.
No, they don't.
It's sad.
Yeah, and I'm still unclear. There are two different court decisions, and they call them LaSalle and LeClaire, but they kind of put them together. And it's kind of the quality of life determinants. And some of that language is actually in the solar ordinance. But I am still unclear what grounds we would have to turn down a wind or a solar, because there are already state and federal guidelines they have to have met. So I'm unclear what the point of a hearing is, other than letting people voice their opinion. But,
That's what we did with wind the first time. You gotta have them have their say.
right, but they could have influence on the creating an ordinance, whereas now, theoretically, they could have some influence on our ordinance creation on things that are not specifically stated in the state law.
But all this doesn't seem sensible, because the government's gonna tell you what you're gonna do, whether you like it or not. We've already made our feelings clear.
Right, but there are some things in our current ordinances, like with the solar, that we can add into this, because it wasn't specifically stated in the state law. So
You
that's
know, it
what
comes
we're
right
doing.
back to the people who own the land. They can make a decision on their own. The sad part is, a lot of those people, they live in California, they don't care what the rest of the people have to put up with. They just want the money. So, how do you deal with that?
You don't.
And the government's
just
gonna
try to
tell you
give
this, and you're gonna make,
Yep.
we did the thing we should have done, did it the right way, listened to everybody's opinion, although we didn't hear any of the plus opinions that day, as I remember. You hear them later, they don't wanna speak up.
Yeah, we heard a lot of them later,
Later.
but,
And here
so
we
where
are.
were you?
All that was for nil, nothing. When we start building those, you'll say, why do we go to all this trouble for and try to do things the right way? And in the end, we're told what we're gonna do, whether we like it or
Well,
not.
okay, the perfect example, and Jeff and I have talked about this, is there is language, and I'm sure it could be written better, and when we take it to the lawyer, hopefully we'll have better language. That you can write in there, because the state law doesn't say you can't, about utilizing the FAA measurement or whatever, so that those lights, those annoying red lights don't go on unless there is a need because of aircraft in the area. So that's, if they don't tell us we can't, so we're gonna put that in.
Right, makes sense.
Yeah, and in the solar one, it doesn't have any language about airports, so we put that in because it was in our original one. So there are some, but it's not a lot.
Yeah, I apologize for being not available. Have you gotten a feeling from the board?
Yeah, we're
on-
just gonna ask the attorney their opinion, or their
Okay.
information from the counties.
Okay,
So I have a few things to do and then I'll,
We'll get together on Friday and get it over to him.
Yep.
Okay?
that's it.
Anything else? Okay. Motion to go into executive session for personnel. Russ moves. Russ moves. Do we get a second? Carl seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay? We're not running on all cylinders, are we? All right.
I haven't been in there.
We went one of the first nights, and we had.
Okay, we're live.
Service is great.
Okay, is there anything else to come before the board? Hearing none, a motion to adjourn. Russ moves.
That is one quick on.
Let's go.
You want me to say it? Okay.
Phil seconds. All those in favor of adjournment signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay?
Yeah.
We're adjourned. Aye.